One of the things I spoke about last night in training was this idea of Kuzuryu, a 9-headed dragon. In Japanese, the word ku means 9. The word zu is one way of saying head, and ru means dragon, so a 9-headed dragon. Now, this myth of the 9-headed dragon goes right back to early Japanese mythology, to the time of Amaterasu no Kame, or Susanna no Mikoto. This really is evolved with the very origin of Japan. Where did Japan come from? Where did the land come from? It also involves the sun god, which goes into our Kuji, our Rin, Pyo, To, etc. And this Kuzuryu, 9-headed dragon, is maybe as old as that. A really, really old mythology, an old myth, an old legend. Now, I don't want to go into the entire myth. It's a very, very long story. But it's said that the 9-headed dragon is entombed in an area today is called Togakushi. And it's where our Togakure-ryu ninjutsu comes from. And some researchers said that Togakure-ryu ninjutsu is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, ninjutsu school. So, what's the meaning of this Kuzuryu, this 9-headed dragon? Well, I don't know. Right? I don't know what the meaning is. Now, somebody's going to say, hold on a moment, you're making a video on the Kuzuryu, this 9-headed dragon, and you don't know what it means. No, that's the whole point of myth. There's lots of myths we have, myths and legends, and we don't know the meaning. The point is finding the meaning for yourself. What does a myth mean to you? Maybe the real meaning of this myth is lost in antiquity. Maybe we'll never know. But here's just my take on it, my way of thinking about this 9-headed dragon. We have what's called the Butoku, these 9 martial virtues: honesty, courage, humility, patience, benevolence. These are great things to aspire to. But what's the opposite of those? What's the opposite of humility? Anger, arrogance. What's the opposite of patience? Well, impatience. What's the opposite of courage? Fear. These are our negative emotions. These part of our aspects of our being that are very, very negative. We all know they're negative, right? We all know that anger can be very negative. It can be positive, but many, many times it's very, very negative. Same with impatience and arrogance. They're a negative part of our personality that we all have. Takamatsu sensei said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something like, we are like a bag of emotions, and we can't keep them in check. They are like a 9-headed dragon. Each of those 9 heads representing one of our emotions, one of our negative emotions. So maybe we are the dragon, but we've got 9 heads. And what we need to do is chop those heads off. You know, dragons appear a lot in our own mythologies. St. George and the dragon. This knight that has to go out to slay a dragon to rescue the maiden, and of course get the prize. Or maybe it's the Hobbit, where Smaug the dragon is terrifying the villagers, and Bilbo has to go and slay this dragon to get the gold. And maybe if we slay our own dragon, our heads of our dragon, maybe we get the prize. Peace, humility, courage. To live without fear. Well, how do we do this? How do we metaphorically cut off the head of the dragon? Well, one way is training. You turn up for training, and if you have a huge ego, well, you're going to get put into the mat a lot of times. You're going to lose your ego. Either that or you walk out of the dojo and never come back. But if you stay in a dojo, and you get put to the ground again and again and again, year in, year out, then eventually your ego is going to disappear. You're going to lose that arrogance. You're also going to develop patience and courage. I have people in a dojo who are scared of rolling on the ground. They're fearful of the ground. But give them a bit of time, they're rolling on the ground, no problem. In fact, they're doing dive rolls on the ground because they've lost that fear. And they also then gain the confidence to do something in their lives. They actually gain the confidence to maybe do something they were fearful of doing, maybe starting a business, or going to college or university, or standing in front of a crowd and giving a talk, because they've learned that actually nothing can stop them. So one way of slaying this dragon, or cutting off the heads of this dragon, is to train. Another way is introspection. Look at yourself. Be honest who you are. You know, none of us are perfect. I have parts of my personality which I know are very negative, and those are the things that I'm working on. And I do that through my training, but also looking at myself. Today I'm out again for a walk. It's a great way of just getting my head together and just having things going through my head and just kind of analysing myself. So introspection is a really good way of dealing with these negative emotions. And you've got to be honest. There's a word for it. It's, well, I take a phrase, Seshin Tekukyoyo, knowing yourself. And I think Lao Tzu said something like, knowing others is wise, knowing yourself is enlightenment. Again, I'm paraphrasing, so I could be slightly wrong there, but you get my drift. That's what we're talking about. And once you sit down and you look at yourself and you meditate on who you are and what your strengths and weaknesses are, you know what you got to do. If you can identify your weaknesses, then you can start to work on them, either through training, maybe through meditation, maybe through doing something like a sport or taking part in some activity. You know, martial arts is not the only way to deal with these things. You can be a warrior. You don't have to be a martial artist to be a warrior. You can just be a warrior. It's about the mindset. But bit by bit, we can start cutting off the heads of this dragon. And then we can start to control these emotions. We can keep them in check. We can lock them up, just like the dragon in Togakushi is enshrined in the mountain. Never be let out. So your anger, your impatience, your fear, your hatred is kept in check. It's buried deep. It's not going to come out. And then maybe we can head somewhat to achieve a little bit of enlightenment. But anyway, that's kind of my thought for the day. I'm going to probably do a few more miles now, and I hope to see you at training. Okay, goodbye. Have a good day.